Hey guys, YouTube Worm 100 here. Alright, and now here I am with another Rocky movie review with a review for Rocky 5. So, yeah, this is a film that this film really didn't do very well when it was released. This just really was like a pretty big critical as well as a financial disappointment. I mean, yeah, people just really felt like disappointed with this film. And even Sylvester Stallone has said himself that he was disappointed with this film as well. Sorry. And this film just it really was not a very huge success when it was released. But really, I'm not really understanding why this film has gotten the hate that it has. Because personally, I actually think that this is a pretty good movie. I mean, yeah, I would agree that this is probably the worst Rocky film of the franchise, but I still actually did enjoy this film. I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, the story overall, I mean, yeah, it really is like not as told really as well as the other movies, but I mean, for what this film does do with it, I actually do kind of like the premise that this film has. I mean, yeah, this film is basically the premise of it is basically just how uh, Rocky and his family are just like really suffering financially because of a mistake Paulie made, and yeah, they end up just like pretty much like going like not totally bankrupt, but yeah, they have lost a lot of money, and so yeah, their life has to change, and yeah, they really just end up like back in like the neighborhood that Rocky was in and prior to like becoming a professional boxer. And yeah, Rocky's like just resorting back to his like old lifestyle, and stuff. And then and yeah, and yeah, Rocky then like comes across Tommy Gunn and takes him under his wing, but then eventually Tommy Gunn just has had enough of Rocky's ways because he felt that he just wasn't getting anywhere with Rocky, and so then he just turned on Rocky, and then it culminates with Tommy Gunn and Rocky fighting on the streets. And I just really do like think that overall the story for this film it is actually like kind of intriguing and it is interesting. I just really do like how it's really like taking a different approach on the rock for a Rocky movie than the other films did. Where because talked about how the premise of this film, how there's the fam Rocky and his family are just like really suffering financially, and also Rocky is like ends up being forced into retirement in this film after like there's like brain damage discovered with Rocky from like all his fights. Of course, like there's like the fight with Drago in the previous film, which was definitely like a really like a huge factor in his a huge contribution to his brain damage because of like Drago's huge punching power. So yeah, but of course like it came from like all the fights that Rocky had in his careers here as well. So but yeah, in this film like it's like shown revealed that Rocky did have some brain damage in this film and stuff. So yeah, it does have like an interesting premise to it. And yeah, and I just really do like. While I once again I do like agree that this is probably the weakest Rocky film of the series. I actually do still like enjoy this film, and I do overall think that it is like an interesting premise, and it is like a different take than the other films for Rocky. So yeah, I still do overall. I do like still enjoy this film. Yeah, yeah. Once again, in this film, you pretty much still have like the same faces returning. Yeah, there's still Sylvester Stallone, Talia Shire, and Burt Young in this film. When they reprise their roles of Rocky, Adrian, and Polly. And yeah, you do also like have like once again so quite a few new faces in this film. In this film, Rocky's son is played by Sylvester Stallone's real life late son, Sage Stallone, and you do have Tommy Morrison as Tommy Gunn, and there's also a Richard Gant as George Washington Duke, who's like a boxing promoter who I guess is like a Don King type of character. I guess like he's like based off of Don King. And yeah, you just have like some like new faces in this film once again. Yeah, and once again, Sylvester Stallone wrote the screenplay for this film, and also John G. Avildsen, who directed the first Rocky film, came back to direct this film. So yeah, I do like think it's like really interesting that John G. Avildsen decided to come back to direct this film. After like being absent from the series since the first film. It kind of reminds me of the X-Men films, how Bryan Singer returned to direct Days of Future Past, which was the first X-Men film that he directed since the second X-Men movie. And yeah, there was a large gap in between the films, and yeah, between like the original Rocky and this film, it was like a 14-year time span, and John D. Appleton decided to come back to direct. So yeah, I just thought that that was interesting. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, I do like the premise of this film. Like Rocky, like is like forced into retirement because of the brain damage that's discovered that he has, and like Rocky like takes Tommy Gunn under his wing, and like he pretty much like uh leads Tommy Gunn into the into professional boxing, and he just makes him into a huge boxing star. Or but then like eventually when Tommy is just like just got very impatient with Rocky because he was never getting a title fight. He then left Rocky for uh, George Washington Duke, and then yeah, eventually Tommy Gunn and like ended up winning the title. But yeah, people just were like not taking Tommy Gunn very seriously, and yeah, Tommy Gunn was just like just like was tired of really just living in Rocky's shadow, and so then yeah, he just then had to like yeah to prove himself. Like he was just convinced to just fight Rocky, but yeah, when Rocky accepts Tommy's challenge, like they don't actually end up fighting in the ring; they fight on the street. So yeah, I do think thought that was an interesting concept to really have a Rocky fight his rival in this film in on the streets, not in the ring, making a street fight. So I just felt that that was like an interesting turn on it, then rather than having like a an official legit boxing match. So yeah, I just felt that that was like a really interesting take on it. So yeah, so I'm not really like quite sure why this film really does get as much hate as it does. I mean, yeah, this is by far the lowest scored Rocky film on Rotten Tomatoes. It only has a 27% on the tomato meter and a 31% audience score. So yeah, it is like insanely low compared to the all the other Rocky films, including Creed. So yeah, this definitely like really was not well received, especially compared to all the other Rocky movies. But I'm really not seeing why it is like as panned as it is because I really do not think it is as bad as people say it is. I really do think that this film is definitely like much better than it's given credit for. I mean, yeah, it's not great or anything, and yeah, it is the worst of the series, but I do still think it is overall a good film. I would still give this film a 3 stars out of 4. I do still think that it is still a good, enjoyable film. So yeah, I just really think that maybe like people shouldn't really think too hard on it and just really like accept it as like the different take that it goes for, and really like just like be more open to it then, since it is like relatively different than the other Rocky films. Because yeah, it is like better than it's given credit for. I definitely do say that. So yeah, so I could really like go on for hours just talking about how I really feel that this film really is like gets overhated on. But yeah, I think I'll just like cut the talk about that because yeah, this has already been going on for 10 minutes. So yeah, let me just get right into the film. All right, so the movie opens up once again with just the highlights of Rocky's fight with Drago in Rocky Four as the opening title rolls roll through, and then yeah, then the movie then like officially starts. Like I think just like right after the fight, like as Rocky's showering stuff, and Duke was telling Rocky that he really did everybody, especially Apollo, proud. And then yeah, Rocky was talking to Adrian, and uh, Rocky just like was like feeling really strange. Like Rocky couldn't like stop shaking his arms and stuff, and yeah, Adrian was like really concerned for Rocky's health. Well, she felt that he had to see a doctor, but Rocky just said that he wanted to go home. And then yeah, Rocky, Adrian, Paulie, and Duke then like arrived back in Philadelphia, and then they were greeted by their son. But my question here is exactly how long were they gone in Russia? Because yeah, yeah, you saw like how young the son looked in Rocky Four, and then yeah, here he's like looks like 5 years older. Like seriously, I mean, how long were they really gone in Russia for the son to really like grow up like this? So yeah, that's something that I don't quite understand. I guess that is probably another one of the problems to this film. Maybe another one of the reasons that maybe like people uh, do feel the way they do about this film, probably because of just like the issue with that, with how Rocky's son grew up. Like, how long exactly were they in Russia for? Yeah. But anyway, and then like during a press conference, and with Rocky, he, like right after he landed, George Washington Duke then like arrived, and he was just like trying to talk to Rocky and just like talk him into fighting the boxer that he manages, Union Kane. And Adrian was just like trying to tell the press and Washington that Rocky was retired now. Now when like Washington was still like trying to really convince Rocky into fighting, but Rocky turned it down. Yeah, and then just throughout this film, like just yeah, Washington just still like was still like really hell bent on really getting Rocky to agree to a fight with Union Kane, and yeah, it just like continued throughout the film. And then later that night, once and so Rocky then got back home, then like it was then like discovered that Paulie like ended up like having Rocky sign a power of attorney to Rocky's accountant, and it turned out like the accountant ended up like screwing up, and like the all of the real estate eight deals had like ended up going sour, and also Rocky's taxes like hadn't been paid for the last 6 years, and there's a mortgage on his mansion for $400,000. And then yeah, Rocky's lawyer was like just telling him that this problem could be fixed with a few more fights, and then Rocky then decided to like accept the challenge against Union Kane. But yeah, Adrian still like wanted was did not want Rocky to do it, and she at least wanted Rocky to go see a doctor for her about his problem. And then that's when it was discovered that Rocky ended up with irreversible brain damage. And then yeah, Adrian then like just wanted Rocky to retire because she just told him it's not about money. She just cares about him. And so then yeah, that's when Rocky then like announced retirement. And then yeah, that ended up like forcing Rocky and the family to move, and yeah, they moved back to the neighborhood that Rocky he like lived in before all his professional boxing career, basically like where he was in the first movie. Yeah, and yeah, then showed how yeah Rocky's plans were now to like reopen uh, the mighty Mick's gym, which Mickey had actually left to Rocky's son in his will. And then as Rocky was just like walking through the empty gym, he then like had a reminisce about like a training session that he had with Mickey before the rematch with Apollo, and then yeah, it just like showed like Mickey talking to Rocky, and yeah, it then like showed when Mickey then like gave Rocky the cuff clink that was actually given to Mickey by Rocky Marciano, and yeah, Mickey ended up giving it to Rocky, and then eventually like it showed that Adrian was like working part time back at the tropical fish store she worked at in the first film, and eventually then Rocky and Paulie as they were walking the streets of Philadelphia, they then and came across like a young fighter from Oklahoma, Tommy Gunn, and yeah, Tommy was just like talking to Rocky, saying that he's just like followed Rocky's career ever since the first fight with Apollo Creed, and he just wanted a chance to prove himself to Rocky. Like, yeah, so then yeah, uh, Rocky then like invited Tommy to his a home for dinner, and then once like eventually like Tommy then just like told Rocky that really he just didn't have like an actual home, and so then Rocky invited Tommy to stay at the house with him and the family, and he pretty much just gave Tommy his son's room and just like told his son that he could sleep with Paulie. And so yeah, that's kind of like a messed up thing to do. Not even like going over through it with his son first and just giving his room away. So yeah, so yeah, I guess like because of like some bad had a character development like that, just like have making Rocky look pretty bad that way. I think that could be another one of the reasons why people really didn't like this movie very much. But yeah, I'm not really gonna get into that. Yeah, I'm just really gonna stick to just talking about this film right now. Yeah, and it also showed like Rocky's son was like going to the school that Rocky went to as a kid, and like there were like a couple of other kids that were like talking to him, and once they it was confirmed that he was Rocky's kid, they just told him your old man's a punk, and the two guys just beat him up and took his coat away. But there was a girl that was with them, and she like didn't like it, and yeah, she was like trying to be friendly with the son. Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, meanwhile, yeah, it was just like showed that. Uh, yeah, Rocky just was like training Tommy just so Rocky could feel that he had a purpose for his life right now. And when yeah, and like he like had Tommy like fight back in like that church hall or whatever it was that Rocky fought Spider Rico in at the beginning of the first film. Yeah, he had Tommy Gunn fight there, and yeah, Tommy like he started out there, and then yeah, over time Tommy was really becoming a top contender in boxing. Yeah, he Tommy Gunn like got to like a 22 and nothing in record in boxing. And yeah, and eventually over time, then Rocky then like gave Tommy the American flag trunks to wear. There, yeah, and yeah, and it also just showed that like Rocky was just like so occupied with training Tommy that he was really just like neglecting his son and family. Yeah, but yeah, it showed that like as Rocky was training Tommy, the son was also training as well. And then eventually, after he was like confronted by the bullies again, and then he eventually ended up fighting them and beating them down. And then yeah, they gave him his coat back, and yeah, he became friends with the two bullies. Yeah, yeah, and then like it's been shown that, like Union Kane ended up winning the vacant heavyweight championship, and Tommy Gunn was also ended up rising up through the ranks. Yeah, and it showed like during as, uh Tommy's rise, it showed that Washington like actually did see was like watching Tommy Gunn's streak. And then yeah, over time that he was just like trying to shout or Tommy Gunn with a bunch of luxuries and just trying to tell him that he was the only path for Tommy to get a title shot against Union King. And yeah, Washington was just like wanting to really like become Tommy's manager with Rocky still training him. And then on one Christmas Eve night, right, it showed that the son was like there with like the girl and the two guys. I guess they're not really bullies anymore. Yeah, like his three friends now, and it was just showing that he really like was now like dealing with anger issues, particularly at Rocky, since like Rocky just was neglecting him so much. But yeah, and then eventually, then uh, Washington then like visited their house along with Tommy, and he was just like trying to explain the scenario of him becoming Tommy's manager with Rocky training him, and it could actually really be a huge benefit to them financially. But yeah, Rocky just like did not want that because he just like felt that any sort of uh, dealing with Washington would be dirty business, and yeah, he was like trying to convince Tommy of that, but yeah, Tommy just like didn't listen because yeah, he was just like becoming so impatient and so pissed off with the way Rocky was training him since like with all Tommy's hot streak, he still didn't get a title shot and just felt that he was never going to get one with Rocky training him. And so then, yeah, Tommy then just decided that he was done with Rocky and just left off in a huff. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and like as Tommy was then just and like speeding off, then like Rocky then was like starting to have a vision in his head of the of at one point in the fight with Drago. And then yeah, Adrian then was just like trying to like give Rocky some comfort, but then yeah, Rocky then was just like telling Adrian his life actually did have meaning when he could like live through Tommy's success. But yeah, she Adrian just told Rocky that Tommy really didn't have the heart and spirit which he could never learn. Here and then yeah, then after Rocky like realized that. And yeah, he then just like was like picking up the pieces and reconciling with the family. He and like was embracing Adrian, and felt went out to find his son, and then yeah, he apologized for neglecting him, and then yeah, they mended too. Yeah, and yeah, Tommy then had the title fight with Union King that Rocky ended up watching, and he was still rooting for Tommy. And yeah, Tommy ended up winning the fight with a first round knockout. But of course, like everyone knew that he had just abandoned Rocky pretty much, and yeah, the crowd was just totally booing Tommy. I mean, and then yeah, and yeah, Tommy didn't even acknowledge Rocky in the victory speech. He was only thanking Washington for the win, saying that he's the one who made it possible. And then in like a post-fight press conference, then just all the reporters were just hounding Tommy. They were just like saying that just K Union K was just a paper champion since he didn't actually win the title from Rocky, and they were just like telling Tommy that he would never actually be a real champion without finding a worthy opponent like Rocky. And then what finally did drive Tommy to the boiling point was like when one reporter actually said, "A Rocky Balboa he'll never be." And then yeah, then Tommy then just ended up like bailing from the press conference, and yeah, he just knew that he was always going to be living in Rocky's shadow, and he just wanted his respect. And then Washington then just told uh, uh, Tommy that there was a way he could get respect, and that he would actually have to challenge Rocky to a fight, and he would just have to do anything to get Rocky to agree to it. And then yeah, then Tommy and Washington, along with like a television crew, ended up showing up at a bar that Rocky and Paulie were at, and yeah, Tommy of course was then issuing a challenge to Rocky, but of course Rocky just was like turning it down. But then yeah, Tommy and then like was just taking some more shots at Rocky and then just calling Rocky weak, and then yeah, Paulie then like stepped in and was just like talking smack to Tommy, and eventually Tommy just ended up striking Paulie down. And then that's when Rocky then decided, like, just said that he should, that to Tommy that he should try to knock Rocky down too, like he just did to Paulie. And, and yeah, but yeah, Washington just told Rocky that Tommy only fights in the ring, and then Rocky just responded with, "My ring's outside." So then, yeah, Rocky and Tommy then just ended up fighting on the streets of Philadelphia, And at first, yeah, Rocky just like totally beat Tommy down. But then, Tommy then ended up battling back at Rocky and really seemed to really be beating Rocky down pretty bad. And then, yeah, of course, like the fight was, of course, like being filmed, and yeah, Adrian and the son ended up like discovered it, and yeah, they quickly rushed to the scene. And then as Tommy was like continuing to beat Rocky down, then Rocky was starting to have like some more visions in his head of like other times where he was like being beat down bad, like in the fight with Drago, and there was also like some other times where he was being beat down, like when Clubber Lang knocked him out. And then Rocky then was like starting to hear Mickey's voice, and Mickey was just like telling him to get up for one more round, and he didn't hear no bell. And yeah, the last thing heard from Mickey was "Get up, because Mickey loves you." And then yeah, Rocky got up, and then yeah, he was just like challenging Tommy to one more round, and so then yeah, Rocky and Tommy went at it again, and and then yeah, it just like was a huge exchange between the both of them, with them like being like thrown into the fence and onto the asphalt. Yeah, just yeah, they were just like a real huge street fight. But then yeah, with like the son and Paulie and pretty much like all the spectators cheering Rocky on, then yeah, Rocky then was eventually able to overpower Tommy and knock him out, and yeah, Rocky ended up winning the fight. But then, like as Rocky was starting to leave, then Washington made a comment to Rocky, "You outclassed the bomb, huh?" And then yeah, Rocky just ended up walking right up to Washington, but yeah, Washington just told Rocky, "Touch me and I'll sue." And yeah, Rocky like had a hesitation for a second, but then yeah, he ended up nailing Washington onto the hood of a car, and yeah, Rocky just said, "Sue me for what?" And then it just felt like Washington was like lifting his head for a second, and then it just dropped back down. So now that always left me wondering, did Rocky actually kill Washington with the punch? And yeah, because yeah, that's something I've wondered. Like because of like the way Washington reacted to the punch, like what did he die? Huh. And then just like cut to the next day, and it showed Rocky and his son were just walking up to the Philadelphia Museum of Art where Rocky's statue was, and then Rocky then just gave his son the cuff link, and yeah, he just told his son that he's glad he was born, and then as Rocky and his son just continued to walk past the statue, then it just the last shot in the film was just a shot of like the Rocky statue looking over the Philadelphia skyline. And then it cut to credits, and yeah, the credits for this film it had like it was similar to the Rocky Four credits. It just like showed like still shots of all of the films up to this point. Like it just like showed like a bunch of like I guess still shots from Rocky One, then Rocky Two, then Rocky Three, then Rocky Four, then Rocky Five. So yeah, I thought that was like interesting. Yeah, I guess like since like this was like originally intended to be like the final film in the series. I guess like they wanted to bookend it that way. So I thought that was an interesting way. But of course, we would learn 16 years later that would not be the case. But yeah, we will talk about that next time. But anyway, as far as this film goes, yeah, like I said, 3 stars out of 4 is what I would still give it. I mean, yeah, it is like first, yeah, it really just did not do very well. And people were really disappointed by it, but yeah, I still do enjoy it, and I do still think that it is a good movie overall. And like I said, I just really think that people should be uh, like more lenient on this film and really like be more open to it and stuff. I mean, I guess like I could kind of see why some people would like feel the way they do about it in a sense because of like some stuff that I talked about in this review. But still, overall, I do still think that it is a good movie overall, and I still do enjoy it. All right, but so yeah, that's my take on it. So yeah, say what you will about the film, but for me, I really don't really have very many problems with this film. So yeah, will probably still end up watching this film on like in it's still at like plenty of points in my life. So yeah, I really won't have any problems with it. But yeah, that's just the way I feel about it. So yeah, I guess that's all I can really say about it. So yeah, so this does it for my review of Rocky 5. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody celebrating tomorrow. Tomorrow, yeah, because yeah, Thanksgiving is tomorrow as I am recording this video. So yeah, if you watch it by then, and or if you're watching it by tomorrow, happy Thanksgiving to everybody celebrating. All right, so yeah, but stay tuned for my next review coming up. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.